Good evening. This video lecture series of wireless cellular and 4G LTE. Okay, and today we are going to discuss about something how actually this wireless communication the magitation of broadband is possible. Okay, so here when it comes to the wireless communication, okay, we have seen yesterday how actually the broadband wireless communication, in that how the modulation scheme is being used, and again in that particular modulation, okay, how we are trying to overcome the problems associated with the wireless communication. Okay, and then again how the wireless communication, the very best modulation scheme is being used, that is adaptive modulation technique. Okay, and today we are going to see about the magication of the wireless broadband with respect to the fading part. Okay, so when it comes to the wireless fading, magitation of the fading part, okay, so here we know actually the basic concept of the fading, right? We have the two different types of fading techniques. One is the selective fading, and again we have the flat fading. Okay, and everything will be respective to the time itself. Okay, and here we will try to compare with the tau. Okay, tau is nothing but the delay spread. Okay, when the moment when you try to compare with the tau, okay, your time should be in a proper manner, such that there should not be any extra kind of interferences should occur. Okay, this is the first thing. The second thing is nothing but the various serious issue which may occur in the wireless communication is nothing but the inter-symbol interferences. We also called it as an ISI. Okay, so because of ISI, there may be possibility that we may have some kind of some delay spread with respect to the multipath, but greater. Okay, but it's greater. Okay, it means that your value of tau, okay, or it can be tau max, okay, or simply you can say as the delay spread. Your delay spread may become large with respect to the time t. Okay, and if that particular tau becomes large, okay, then there may be possibility that the inter-symbol interferences may occur in the receiving side. Okay, so just to have the effective type of communication, okay, we try to design a circuit part, we try to design the system in such a way that for any high data rate system, our system should be very properly and effectively overcome ISI. The meaning of compact is nothing but we need to try to overcome the problem of inter-symbol interferences. Okay, so for that particular methodology, okay, so OFDM is one of the popular choice which we make use of, which we make use of, okay, in LTE system to overcome the inter-symbol interferences when we try to go for high rate system or high data rate system. Okay, now which are the higher data rate systems are nothing but you have an IEEE 802.11 when it comes to the Wi-Fi, okay, or when it comes to the WiMAX, and obviously our main focus will be on LTE. It means that when you try to make use of an LTE system, we should make sure that there should not be any kind of inter-symbol interferences into the circuit, into the system. Okay, so for that reason, okay, we try to make use of some technique, okay, because some technique has to be implemented or has to be adopted to minimize the inter-symbol interference. Okay, without simply just transmitting your information towards the receiver will not reduce the ISI, because your channel is wireless. So therefore, to overcome this particular whole problem of this inter-symbol interferences, the techniques was the first technique here we make use of is nothing but the SPED spectrum, or it can also be called as a Racket receiver. Okay, this is the methodology, this is the technique. Okay, so what happens in this particular SPED spectrum is nothing but we try to actually speed up the transmission rate. Okay, for example, if your transmission rate is about some 10 kbps, okay, so instead of making use of 10 kbps, I just try to go for 20 kbps. Okay, just to overcome the problem of multipath. I will just give an example of here, okay, how this transmission will occur. Okay, for example, when you try to take a signal, when you try to take a light, okay, let's just take an example of a light, okay, or a torch. Okay, just take a torch and just turn on the torch, holding it toward the straight, okay, just somewhere here in the front side. Okay, so when you try to calculate the amount of light in terms of speed, how much time it will take to reach that particular point, okay, with respect to a laser light. Okay, just take the laser light and just check out. Okay, so the speed of the laser light is more, okay, when it is compared with the normal torch light, okay, with respect to the time also. So therefore, in this particular LTE system, we make use of a spectrum technique. So instead of transmitting your data rate at a transmission rate, normal transmission rate, we try to speed up the transmission rate just to overcome the problem of multipath fading. Okay, but your data rate should not change. Okay, the transmission rate is different, that is TX, and your data rate is a bit different. Okay, so keeping the data rate same and changing the data rate will result into less interferences. Okay, and since we are trying to speed up the transmission rate, okay, we may also make use of the wideband transmission. Okay, because there are two transmission bands is possible when you go for any principles of communication. Okay, one is the narrow band, another is nothing but the wide band. Okay, usually we try to go for the narrow band transmission data signal. Okay, but when this problem is occurring in the LTE system, instead of going to the narrow band, just go for the wide band transmission. Okay, because there may be possibility that your data rate may fall when you try to make use of the narrow band. So therefore, try to make use of the wideband transmission, then go for the narrow band transmission. So this type of technique, when we try to change the band from narrow band to the wide band, is known as spectrum. Okay, you are trying to spread the spectrum. Okay, for example, if you have a frequency band of 100 kilohertz. Okay, and if you are not able, and you are transmitting that your data signal through that 100 kilohertz, but there is a problem of multipath fading. Okay, so instead of going for the 100 kilohertz, I will go for 200 kilohertz, or I will go for 1000 kilohertz. Now what I am trying to do, I am trying to increase my spectrum width. I'm trying to spread the spectrum. So this process is known as spectrum technique. Okay, and it is also can be divided into different slots. Okay, so or you can say it has some category of division. So one category is nothing but direct sequence. Okay, and another is called as frequency hopping technique. Okay, so what happens in the direct sequence is nothing but here we make use of a CDMA access, that is code division multiple access. Okay, just like TDM and FDMA, we have a CDMA. Okay, so what we try to do here is each slot will be allocated with some particular code. Okay, and then it will be transmitted. And this CDMA, it is widely used, or it is oftenly used, it is most timely used in wireless communication. Okay, or simply you can say in a cellular voice network. Okay, and it is very important because it makes use of multiplexing methodology. Okay, where the rate will be variable. Okay, it will not be fixed. The transmission rate will be variable. Sometimes the data rate may also change. Okay, based on the cellular environment. Okay, so this is direct sequence spectrum. Now, what do you mean by frequency hopping is nothing but frequency hopping is sometimes called as a low rate wireless LAN. Okay, we have an example like we have a Bluetooth, right? It's a small range. The range is very small, and the data rate which is required for the Bluetooth is also very less. Okay, and because of this, the interferencing property in the GSM cellular can be averaged. So when you take an average of that particular range and try to send, then you may achieve you may have some very good results. Okay, so therefore here in wireless communication, there are two possibilities here which we can try to adopt such that there will not be any kind of interferences. Now the second thing in the spectrum, or that Rache, there is another called as a Rache receiver. Okay, so what is happening in this particular methodology is nothing but there may be possibility that there are different various service providers. Okay, broadband services are there. Okay, not only with the CDMA, but there are other highly versions of CDMA. For example, CDMA 2000 is there. Again, when you go for higher versions of CDMA, we have HSPDA, high speed data packet access. Okay, it is been derived from the WCDMA. Okay, so we do not stand with only one methodology. Okay, we may try to adopt different type of methodology where the data rates may change. Okay, the methodology may also change. Okay, either it can be go for narrow band, or it can be go for wide band. Okay, so here in wireless communication, there is the more possibility Okay, more possibility is nothing but it will be calculated based on the statistical analysis. Okay, so based on the statistical analysis or based on the statistical values, okay, so we try to make use of some kind of other methodology where we try to go for the better improvement in the inter-symbol interferences. Okay, and how this can be done, okay, is nothing but by making use of equalization. Okay, so there is another method where we can make use of the where we can try to avoid the fading, is nothing but it's called as an equalization. Okay, so equalization is the another parameter here where we can focus more where we can focus more. Okay, so what actually the frequency equalization will do is just like a normal what our normal equalizer will have. Okay, so here in the equalization technique, okay, there are different, again, can be categorized. Okay, so the equalization here try to do the equalization at the receiver part, not at the transmitter part. This is the first thing. Okay, the second thing is nothing but we try to check or we try to adopt or try to attempt the distortions, okay, in the channel part. Okay, so generally what happens here is nothing but equalizers will be either they can be linear or it can be non-linear. Okay, so when we say that our equalizer is linear, so equalizer is said to be linear if the received signal through a filter that roughly models the inverse of the channel. Okay, this is one of the important point. Okay, when you try to equalize the channel part, okay, when you try to equalize the signal which has been received at the receiver and that particular model, if it is the inverse of the channel, then we say that it is a linear equalization. Okay, now there is a problem with this approach is that the whole channel cannot be inverted or whole channel cannot be inverted. Okay, but when you try to do that inversing part, there may be possibility that you may encounter some kind of noise. Okay, so we don't want any kind of noise at the receiver side. Okay, because if there is a noise, our performance of the receiver will drop. Okay, now especially when it comes to the wireless channel, again there is again a problem that we may encounter deep frequency fade. Okay, so therefore the performance of the signal when it received at the receiver will be very poor. Okay, so this happens in the linear equalizer. Now when you try to adopt the non-linear equalizer, okay, so non-linear equalizers may be here in this particular non-equalizer we go for the decision. Okay, so based on the decision of the previous symbol, because it is a symbol transmission, symbol first symbol, second, third, fourth, or in terms of packets or in terms of bits. Okay, so based on the symbols, previous symbol, okay, the decisions will be made by the receiver to cancel out the subsequent interferences. Okay, so if the previous symbol is decision made with the previous symbol is an error, okay, then I may just cancel out everything and just go for the automatic repeat request or either I can change my decision completely decision. Okay, so the problem here with the non-equalizer is nothing but it may again occur because of the multipath. Okay, so because of multipath our time will be different. Okay, time offset will be different, and again it depends on the priority or which prior symbol causes the interferences. Okay, so therefore the problem with this non-equalizer or the mistake what we try to do is nothing but prior to the symbol, okay, especially with the low signal to noise ratio, what will be the error propagation. Okay, so based on the error propagation we try to correlate or we try to check the performance. Okay, so when you try to check with the performance, again the computational complexity will be increased. Okay, so this is how we try to adopt the non-equalizer. So one or the other approach may have some or the other problem, that is nothing but some advantages, some kind of disadvantages. Okay, so now the third type of method what we try to again adopt in the wireless communication, okay, is nothing but maximum likelihood sequence detector. Okay, so what do you mean by maximum likelihood sequence detector is nothing but one type of optimization of the suppressing the ISI. Okay, see, always please remember when you are not able to remove the inter-symbol interferences, please try to suppress it or please try to reduce that. Okay, reducing is nothing but one type of the method where your complexity may be taken into the consideration. Okay, so based on your constellation size, okay, based on your the delay with respect to the channel. Okay, but everything will not be practical. It becomes completely impractical on the channel because channel is completely wireless. Okay, there may be possibility that you may have long delay spread. Okay, sometimes the data rate may be high. Okay, or sometimes the data rate may be low, because outdoor data rate may be high, but indoor the data rate may be very poor. Okay, because you are making use of GSM models. Okay, so therefore this again, the maximum likelihood sequence detection is not expected to be practical. Okay, with respect, but when you try to make it hybrid with respect to the decision is nothing but this non-linear. When you try to club this particular part with the non-linear equalizer, then there may be possibility that based on the estimation value, okay, we may try to suppress the interferences. Okay, so this is how the equalization will completely work out. Now there is another methodology, or another technique what we may adopt is nothing but multi-carrier modulation. Okay, and single carrier modulation. Multi-carrier means nothing but more than one carrier can be adopted for the transmission. Okay, which can again fight with the intersymbol interferences. It means that if I take 10 carriers, and if the first carrier is having some kind of interferences, okay, because what LTE says, what OFDM says, that instead of transmitting the one symbol, one sequences, or one complete information, we try to send the same copies of the signal to the receiver. Okay, for the multi antenna. Okay, receiver will have multiple antenna. Okay, so transmitter will also have the multiple antenna. If the signal is transmitted from the transmitter to the receiver side, okay, and if that signals is encountering the multipath, okay, or it encountering the local scattering, or it is encountering some kind of fading. Okay, so when those signals are received, the same copies of the signal, transmitted signal, when it is received at the receiver side, then if one signal is having less interferences than compared with the other, okay, so the signal which is having the less intersymbol interferences, that will be considered, because all signals are taken parallelly. Okay, the symbols will go completely parallel. Okay, so therefore sending the signal with the data rate of R and bandwidth of B will not that is nothing but, why can't we go for the different bandwidth and different data rate? Okay, so if that is possible, then approximately your flat fading and then your time dispersion for each signal will be completely negligible. Okay, so this effects will completely change the receiver side information. Okay, because it is working on the basic principle of orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. Okay, so this methodology can be adopted in the meditation of the channel fading. Okay, so here the fading will be reduced. Now there is a last thing here is nothing but single carrier modulation with frequency domain equalization. Okay, though it is a single carrier, but along with the single carrier, how we can go for the frequency domain equalization? Okay, so this can be adopted when it comes to the suppression. Okay, so ISI can be suppressed, can be separated at the transmitted signal with high peak to signal to noise ratio. Okay, relative to single carrier. It means that we will not do anything at the receiver part, nor neither in the channel part. Okay, we'll try to do in the transmitter signal only. Okay, so because there is a problem, there is a drawback with the OFDM approach when you try to go for the suppression of the ISI. Okay, so what we try to do here is we try to take the high peak to average ratio of a single carrier signal. Okay, and then simply try to increase the power level of the transmitter, because if the power level of the transmitter is too high, there may be possibility that your signal may even though if it encounters the multipath, when it encounters the fading, or when it has some kind of local scattering, still when it get received at the receiver part, you may have very less signal to noise ratio. Okay, so less clipping or less distortions. Okay, or we can say that very low relatively low power, which is completely inefficient and quite quite expensive. Okay, but there is a outcome will be like very bad. Okay, so therefore single carrier modulation with frequency domain equalization will be is another methodology where we can try to generate the high peak to average ratio. Okay, effectively. But the only thing is like the transmitter will have only a single carrier. Okay, with cyclic prefix, okay, with low peak to average ratio, okay. And if we try to consider all these things, and we try to, when we go for processing of this particular signal, okay, at the receiver, then how this can be done is nothing but this can be adopted by making use of fast Fourier transform, okay, because fast Fourier transform is completely is done in the frequency domain, not in the time domain, okay. And again, frequency sampling technique is one of the methodology which can be adopted. Either it can be a 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, 7 tap. It depends upon how many number of taps, okay. So more the number of taps, the equalization will be better, okay. So this can be adopted in a proper method, okay. And also you have to go for the reverse, that is called inverse fast Fourier transform, just like bringing back your frequency domain signal to a time domain signal, okay. This is necessary, right? When you go for modulation, you have to go for demodulation. When you go for encoding, you have to go for decoding, okay. So transmitter side, we go for FFT. Receiving side, we will go for the inverse fast Fourier transform, because everything will be like change in the domain. So change in the domain potentially increases our efficiency, okay, because a frequency domain works better than the time domain. So therefore, in LTE, when it comes to the uplink, we go for sharing of the frequency channel at the same time, okay, and the mobile station will still perform fast Fourier transform and IFFT operation, okay. But the resulting approach will be done. What will be done in the LTE is nothing but single carrier frequency division multiple access, okay. So this is how the different techniques of fading can be reduced, okay. Different broadband fading can be reduced with different types of fading techniques. So spread spectrum is one thing with respect to the Racket receiver. The second is you can go for equalizer. It can be linear or non-linear or MLSD, okay, or you can go for either multi-modulation, simply normal OFDM modulation, but the multiple carriers, or simply go for single carrier, but you should make use of FFT and IFFT such that there will be increase in the performance or increase in the overall efficiency of your signal when it gets related, okay. And coming to this, the whole module summary is nothing but here we observe that the channel power can be modeled, okay, based on the distance between transmitter and the receiver, carrier frequency, and path loss, okay. And we can characterize the large scale perturbation from every channel by logging it, okay, log normal shadowing effect, okay. And then we can go for modeling the channel based on how the cellular system is been designed, okay, with neighboring cells, okay, and how we can try to reduce the interferences through the sectoring method and frequency reuse mechanism, okay. And we can go for the fading part, okay, collective fading, where it completely depends upon the broadband wireless channel by making use of autocorrelation functions, okay. Then by making use of some statistical models such as relay, okay, and Raytheon and other different statistical methods will be developed so that your model will be a realistic model. Either it can be operated in the time domain, frequency domain, or spatial correlation methodology, okay. So with this, I will conclude the today's lecture of broadband fading using the meditation techniques. And with this, the first module of wireless LTE, cellular LTE, and broadband completes here. So with this, I conclude here. Thank you.